Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas, and today I have with me Jim Russell, CEO and co-founder at Orbiseed, and Andrew Anzenberger, VP of Product and Customer Experience at Orbiseed. So first of all, thank you both for joining me. How's it going today?
We're doing great, Tony. Thanks. Good to be here.
Fantastic. Thanks for having us.
Awesome. And I very often break the ice talking about the weather based on where you guys are at. So you're both in Toronto. I've been to 70-some countries, but never Canada. So my understanding of Canada, having never been there, on March 22nd, you're either buried in snow or enjoying the beginning of a very nice spring. So how are things looking in Toronto today?
So far, we've just, I think, got over the hump. Middle of March, we're starting to feel like it's spring. Snow's starting to melt. Warmer temperatures are coming, double digits. So starting to feel a little bit like spring is around the corner.
Fantastic. And is it one of those things like Michigan where you get a second winter that goes until like June?
We could still get snow in April, but we're crossing our fingers. We've seen the last of the heavy stuff.
Okay, awesome. So I always give the guests the chance to kind of give the elevator pitch. What is Orbiseed?
Yeah, that's great, Tony. So again, thanks for letting us come on your show. We really enjoyed watching it in past. Orbiseed's an insurtech startup founded back in early 2019. Our mission is to assist the property and casualty insurance industry solve one of its biggest challenges, which is to review an ever-increasing volume of property data quickly and effectively. And our machine learning platform helps risk engineers and underwriters automate the manual, mundane, and repetitive review of documents that includes text, tables, drawings, 6 times faster, which improves their efficiency and delivers significant savings in operating costs. And while we provide the above features, we also deliver faster and more accurate review of documents that reduces human error, and we mitigate against critical risk that enables commercial insurance carriers to win more business and increase their profits.
Okay, so I'm not surprised that this is a problem for our industry, but I am surprised that it's a growing problem. Why are we getting more documents?
We've actually analyzed this problem, and the reason is because insurance companies per se are receiving more and more data from, or more and more documents from their customers, from brokers, and from their clients. And because of that, that continual improvement of an increase, I should say, in the number of documents, we see that it's similar to the size of the Library of Congress on a weekly basis.
Okay. And is it partially the much more access that's been brought because of the insurtech revolution?
Andrew, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, I think, Tony, it's a combination of that. It's also a combination of the new technologies that are coming to the forefront. You have satellite imagery, drone technology, IoT devices. What I'll talk about a little bit later is we were interviewing a lot of risk engineers out there. It felt like they were drinking from a fire hydrant with all these new technologies coming online. It's like, great, it's all this information that we have to now make sense of, but we still have to manually go through all this information, and it's just a growing pile of new information. Like Jim mentioned, the size of the U.S. Library of Congress on a weekly basis. And that was one of their fundamental challenges, is that the fact is, like, how do we make sense of all of this new technology and the data that's coming in presenting to us and structure it and present it and then rekey it into legacy insurance systems? So that's kind of where they're coming from on the risk engineering side.
Okay. So how did you guys realize this was a problem, and how did you decide to jump on this problem?
So back, I guess, towards the end of 2018, I was a senior executive and director of an innovation team at a large global company. And my role was actually to bring product excellence and technical transformation to the business. Now, Andrew worked with me at that organization, and we shared a common dream of creating an AI company that helped transform large, slow-moving industries through the adoption of disruptive and innovative technologies. And as well, during this time, I had also the opportunity of working very closely with the University of Waterloo, which is located, as you know, probably, Tony, near Toronto, and recognized as a leader in the fields of engineering and computer science. So during this time, I met my partner, co-founder Tin Chen, who was already working on an AI solution that combined machine learning and NLP to extract, process, and summarize very complicated unstructured property data. And it was beginning in 2019 that when we were looking at what do we do with this, is it a prop tech solution or an insurtech solution? And we felt, after doing some deep analysis, and when Andrew joined the team, we agreed to focus our efforts on the P&C commercial insurance sector to solve the challenge of unlocking value found within complex unstructured property data.
Okay. So it uses AI and machine learning.
Yep.
How does it work, and what does it look like to the user, and what makes it unique to the other solutions out there?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So fundamentally, I think if we take a step back, Tony, you may know this, that when we're looking at maybe insurtech, technology in general, there's often this approach of product-centric development, where we at Orbiseed, we took a customer-centric, human-centered design approach to our solution. So that, I guess, first and foremost, we put the risk engineer at the center of our development process when we were building the solution. I think that in and of itself makes us unique amongst a lot of other organizations on the technology landscape. We interviewed probably over 150 risk engineers across the globe, from individual organizations with probably 1 to 2 employees to organizations at over 30,000 employees globally. And we used all of those insights to help build a solution that utilizes natural language processing and machine learning to read and understand commercial property risk reports. And for context, these reports are anywhere from 50 pages to 200 pages long, depending on line of business, and some instances over 2,000 pages long. So what we're doing is we're extracting critical risk factors from these reports and presenting them to risk engineers in an intuitive visual dashboard. So we're looking at things from COPE, so construction, occupancy, protection, exposure, loss potentials, and presenting them in a way that allows them to organize this information, synthesize this information, and then present it to their underwriting team in a matter of minutes, as opposed to the 2 to 2.5 hours that would be manually.
Okay, I love the idea of the visual dashboard. So I'm a former middle market underwriter, and did both liability and the property piece. Basically, we would go over everything manually, right? We would go over the pictures manually and go over the reports from loss control manually. So tell me about that dashboard. What does it look like?
Yeah, so it's basically a 360-degree view of all of the risk factors found within a particular report. And we organize it by individual risk factor. It could be construction fire rating. It could be exposure, like is asbestos exist on this particular plant? Are underground storage tanks present? Are above ground storage tanks present? And we give the risk engineer and the end user the ability to drill down to what's extremely important to them. So we organize all this information based off of those basically mission critical risk factors, and then give them the ability to validate or invalidate our AI findings. Because one of the things we've learned is, speaking with risk engineers, they're highly skeptical of technology, first and foremost. So when you're looking at this information, are they going to trust what our AI produces? So we give them the ability to drill into the report and look at where this information was found, and then basically allow them to validate that information. And each time they validate or invalidate a particular piece of information, we create a digital record on the back end that retrains our particular model, so that we can eventually have straight through processing. So when we're looking through these particular types of reports, risk engineers can have it auto accepted or auto rejected based on their previous findings, which I think is super important for a user experience.
Okay, so I'm looking at the website, as I often do while recording. So 6x times faster processing of documents. So that's already where you're at. That's where the product is today, is 6 times faster than traditional. So what does that mean for the carriers getting that 6 times faster? What are the effects that the customers are seeing by using the system?
Jim?
Yes, the benefit, of course, of that is the fact that that risk engineers immediately can process more documents faster, more efficiently. They can actually spend more time working with clients. They spend less time doing the repetitive. And by doing that, they have an 88% increase in efficiency and a 20% overall in productivity. And that reduces tremendous cost and burden. The other benefit that we see is, of course, so not only is there efficiency gain, so there's in terms of reducing efficiency so they can actually review more reports, but they're actually not looking, I mean, a majority of carriers today, Tony, and you probably already know this, they only look at about 10 to 15% of their book of business. And what our capability allows them to do is go back and look at some of their historic documents. Where are some of those, where are some of those ticking time bombs? So what happens is that can come back and haunt them. Maybe they've never gone through. It's an older customer, it's a repeat customer. They haven't gone through recently and looked at their documents. Well, our AI can go through and review those and update the carrier, or specifically the underwriter and the risk engineer, if there are any concerns, or is there something in the book of business and specific to that customer or client or broker that they don't want to insure. So it mitigates risk and it improves productivity, and that's a tremendous savings. The other benefit is the fact that these are highly paid employees who have many years of experience, in some cases middle age, difficult to replace them. So what our AI does is it allows you to train models through a human in the loop. And as the models get stronger and faster, it mimics the activities of the risk engineer, and it enables that risk engineer to be more productive. So you don't necessarily you do more work at lower cost. You don't have to hire more risk engineers. And even if you do have a risk engineer leaving, a lot of the knowledge that has been passed on through the system helps train the new risk engineers who can use that information collectively from within the group.
Okay. What is the integration like? Since we're investing heavily the carriers are into getting their systems to a decent place. What does the integration look like, and how advanced do my systems need to be in order to be able to integrate?
So that's a great question. So with Orbiseed, we offer basically two standalone options with our product. Namely, one, we can have our proprietary web-based application for individuals who don't want to integrate with any other of their core insurance systems. So we do have that available, but we do have the ability to use our universal API to connect with core insurance systems such as Guidewire and elements like that. So everything we try to do at Orbiseed is we see ourselves as that supercharger on those workflows. So if integration is super important, that can be part of the implementation package that we do offer to carrier clients and broker clients. So yeah, it's definitely something that we do have the capability to provide. And a typical implementation, when we are looking at those more complex integrations, sometimes it could be like proprietary systems that carriers have developed internally. Could be anywhere from six months, basically, it would be from an implementation standpoint.
Okay. What is the pricing like? Is it a subscription? Is it by the policy or by the user? What is the pricing model like?
Yeah, thanks, Tony. We have a really flexible pricing model. It's based on it's not based on number of users. It's simply based on the number of reports that are processed. It continues to scale, and it reduces as you scale. So the fact is that the more you use the tool and the more you use the platform, your cost goes down. And the benefit, of course, is that those files, every time you open a file or close a file, that's not one-time user. You can use it across the system. So it's a cradle-to-grave solution all the way from risk engineers, account managers, all the way right up to underwriters. And those files can be opened up multiple times at no additional cost. So it's affordable, but at the same time, it enables you to grow and use use the tool in a broader sense, so we're not counting the number of seats or users. We're simply looking at the engagement and how many times you use the product, and it's quite affordable in relationship to existing costs. In fact, it reduces probably 70 to 80% of your costs against what you're manually paying to review documents. So it's a quite an effective cost savings and efficiency saving.
Gotcha. And I see on the website that and better accuracy than having humans go through it.
Yeah, we have to be very careful when we talk about accuracy. We don't want to have anyone believe that AI is perfect, and nor should we. Even if we have self-driving cars, I don't think any of us want to take our eyes off the road. But that being said, human in the loop and the way that we've set up the AI, we're getting almost an 85% accuracy out of the box. And then as the tool continues to be refined and used, and with our human in the loop process, looking at the PDFs, we find that it eventually gets up to a 90 to a 95% accuracy to the eventual goal of throughput, which throughput processing, which is no human in the loop. You're literally trusting the AI, because one of the things we ensure that engineers have to be responsible for the risks that they're signing off on, and we don't want to present them information that's either it isn't accurate or that's going to create uninsured losses.
Okay, I've had many AI and machine learning insurtechs on the show, but lately GPT-4 has been all over the news. So how is this similar? How is this different from you guys' use of AI?
Andrew just wrote a whole article on this that he posted on LinkedIn. So I'm going to pass this one over to Andrew, and then I'll leave you with the final summary.
Yeah, so I think that's a great question, and we know that it's on everybody's mind. They had a meteoric rise of one of the fastest companies in, I guess, tech history to get 100 million users onboarded. But I think fundamentally, ChatGPT is a language processing artificial intelligence, whereas it knows different words, it understands their context, and it calculates the probability in order to string those words together. Whereas fundamentally with Orbiseed, what we are is an intelligent document processing engine where we're ingesting these complex, unstructured PDFs in 100 different formats at this point in time, and we're extracting mission critical risk factors from them, regardless of what that format looks like. And these reports have text, they have images, they have tables, and we're pulling out the relevant information in a matter of seconds for our risk engineering user group right now at this particular point in time. So I think there's a lot of talk around ChatGPT. There's a lot of applications and use cases for it within the insurance industry, but as it pertains to Orbiseed, I think it's a huge opportunity for us to utilize those large language models, or LLMs, to help improve our data extraction accuracy, and also give us the ability to query, like Jim mentioned before, like a book of business. So when we're looking at exposures within, let's say, a large carrier, what percentage of our business is adequately sprinklered would be something we would be able to calculate based off of deploying this technology with Orbiseed's technology. And they would come back and say, 60% of your book of business is adequately sprinklered. They're using this particular type of sprinkler system, and its footprint is covered, let's say, 85% adequately. So I think that's a huge capability and learning opportunity going down the road when it comes to ChatGPT and Orbiseed technology. And Jim?
Yeah, the other thing I'd like to add is simply that we're dealing with very specific, specialized data that comes from clients that may be only available to a specific carrier. And that's not generally available to the public, which is all of these large language models, or LLMs, are using. So what we tend to do is take the information directly from the customer. We're able to review it specifically and clearly and effectively really quickly. And by doing that, this has proven that you adopt this in a way that's lightning fast. And if you invest in this type of AI, and I think it's been proven by these LLMs that it's the way of the future, and therefore, because these companies who are sort of taking advantage of AI and the capabilities that we could provide or that the industry can provide, they'll win in the market.
Okay. What new features and capabilities are you guys working on? What's coming down the pipe?
So yeah, As of today, Orbiseed is working with two lines of businesses where we're extracting these risk factors from. One is the property line of business, and two is the environmental impairment liability, or EIL, line of business. What we wanted to do is, because right now we are ingesting all of these documents from brokers and all those sources where risk engineers can get them from, is our first priority is to now work with third-party data integrators to enrich our data source. So now we're pulling all this relevant information from documents. What other sources can we use to enrich this information to provide more context to risk engineers, whether that's working with elements like Hazard Hub or even the U.S. Geological Survey, bringing all that information together to create a much more complete 360-degree view of the risks that are present within a property or a portfolio of properties. So first and foremost, it would be that third-party data integration. And then secondly, as Jim mentioned earlier, what we're really focusing on is historically, insurance carriers don't really know what's in their book of business. So we want to provide them with the ability to understand all of those reports that are sometimes just ticking time bombs, like Jim mentioned. So we're working on creating that capability to analyze those historical records and provide a historical picture of what's within their book of business, because we can easily start from today moving forward, but sometimes it's what's in the past that can haunt us, so to speak. So we want to really focus on analyzing that and providing that up front, sort of as a way to sort of springboard us into an agreement going forward with our carrier clients.
And of course, once we have significant data and sufficient data, what we can do is we can also develop predictive analytics specific for risk engineers and underwriters who are looking at building data and looking at more complex data that traditionally insurance carriers don't necessarily review. And by having all of that as kind of a central database or on a platform that you can access quickly, effectively, and efficiently, it enables you to, instead of opening up several screens at the same time and trying to open and close, files as well as access, third-party data, it's a dog's breakfast. So we're trying to have a simple source of truth for the industry, which allows a cradle-to-grave solution between risk engineers and underwriters.
Awesome. Any conferences for the rest of the year that we can run into you at?
Well, we're looking at attending them all. We're a small team, a very efficient team, cash flow positive, I'm happy to say. So any manager out there, manager out there listening worried about working with a startup, it's always a concern. But we are fortunate enough to have partners who have supported us earlier in our journey. And because of that, what we're doing right now is our hands are full because we're dealing with several customers right now who are adopting the product. But we hope to eventually be showing at all of the trade shows, the major shows, whether those are in Vegas or the ones that are going to be in Nashville, and presenting our company and our products in a booth, and of course meet customers up front where they can see and try the product immediately through a demo, or actually we can come to their site and work with their risk engineering team or underwriting team.
Okay, awesome. Is there any InsurTech conference up in Canada?
There is, but again, it's primarily regional, and we'll be honest with you, we don't really work with any customer here in Canada.
So our very U.S. focus for now.
Our focus is south of the border, literally the
much
United
bigger
States.
market.
It's our principal directive because we see the opportunity being the biggest, and we see it also, the need is there. And I think that's what I'd like to stress, Tony. I'm not here to sell Orbiseed. I'm here to talk about that. If there is one thing to take away after listening to this podcast, it's the importance of adopting AI. I think everyone can see it now with the recent popularity of a lot of the large LLMs. But really, if you want an opportunity that you can take advantage of quickly, efficiently, and it's not going to cost you too much, while it's going to enable you to continue to have an overlap in your existing systems and processes, that's who we are. So we'd love to talk to anyone, and we're looking for partnering with any company that is willing to work with us and help us reach our goals.
Awesome. Once this goes live, I will tag both of you on LinkedIn and the company on LinkedIn. And I look forward to seeing you out there. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks. Really appreciate it, Tony. Really enjoyed the opportunity.